Now, this is one I never actually did a review video for of Skybrows. Amelia and Amelia's. I kind of was leaving this one because it's about Britain and I feel kind of a bit weird talking about it. But yeah, as you all know, Amelia is based off of a propaganda computer game that was developed by a subsection of the UK government, i.e. one of those quangos. It's meant to be teaching people about online extremism. And if you've ever tried the game, it just treats any questioning at all as being extremist. Yeah. And they made the villain, as much as there is a villain in that game, a very reasonable sounding woman. And the internet just leaped on that. Just like, and we ended up with Amelia. So as usual, I'm going to do a playthrough, and then I'm going to do a mostly commentary on how I think it was edited for purpose, and identifying some people. There are some political figures who I struggle to remember who they are. But yeah, here we go.
Skittish, my jolly good chap. British not skittish and done with this crap. British not skittish with the nights from the nap to take you. For your skull a good rap, raise your pint lads in the back street. Pub below, flashing purple threads, dystopic window. Know the goal they created and couldn't control. Amelia girl was such an own goal. Fish and chips on the lips, they were cracking their whips. I say now have you all seen these sad selling clips? Bloody 1984 on the floor. Sad propaganda that's looking so poor they can't conceal you. Amelia, the natural appeal. You mean straight to the top and so real we can feel you. Amelia, Amelia, you popped off the line between the darkest fear and what's yours and mine. We'll bring you Amelia, voice sounds like a fine, just inspiring your oblivious game design. Purple shadow recap, coronated out queen, not meant to be base, but you came out clean to the ministry of truth, leg it under the knife. The license to speak what's in plain sight. Who keeps the island when the tide turns away? Amelia, I feel you, lead a path wide. Four boys will run from a thunderclap. British not skittish and done with this crap. Tried to shut it all down, but you ran a fool lap. White fools left in chorus, the memes on tap. Look straight ahead now, stormtroopers don't dash you for rivers and soil and the damn cold air. Pull the plug quick when plans got out of hand. Guess they never heard about their Ostroys on what they tried to suppress. The evil shadow band like Bob's your uncle oppressed the homeland. But echoes don't die once you know the name. And slamming the lid is just boosting the fame. Not hating her eyes, just stop and refrain. This green old eye won't be conquered again. Locked by the sea when the speech isn't free. This sea you and teeth those of reality. Protect your own grand, let the Shire be. Shut the shy down from the BBC. Oh Amelia, Amelia, a pearl in the wire. The red flag who fan the flames of the fire. The ones who remember the pride but dawn. The footy on Saturdays and the long gone. Fishnet defiance, your unbound stare. You're more than a warning, you're already there. Amelia, Amelia, we feel you tonight. Rebel clad in purple and pink so bright. Westminster chill with the grooming gangs. Fucked around, time to bed and fangs. Hard stay unto friends who toil, but start right off if you dare to spoil. Some might say this man's around. Take my advice, get lost in the jam. If you ask me, she can plainly see we were knee deep in palazzo supremacy. Girl spit straight back, she's bloody brilliant. Identities allowed to be resilient. Don't let them weaponize your charity. The difference between cruelty and clarity. Your homeland's yours, your task in hand. She's a base of gold. It's Amelia Brand. Now there's a million Amelias. Now there's a million Amelias. Goals of feel was revealed, yeah. I feel ya, I feel ya. This goal keeps it real, yeah. I feel ya, have me, Amelia. I feel ya, I feel the deal, make it real, yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Then we have Amelia's. And object here, I tend to review videos, not songs directly. I go for music videos because I'm trying to deal with timing of cuts to beats. So a SoundCloud link isn't much of a use for me. Sorry about that. Okay. So first of all, we have this absolutely luscious design on this, emphasizing the femininity of the character. Cuts. We have our first cameo. Here we have the old PFP of Sargon, Carl Benjamin, political commentator, has his own website and podcast called The Lotus Eaters. Now, this art style here is actually closest to what the game art style was, although the art style was much fatter and less interesting than this, emphasizing just how little effort went into making that game. And we have Amelia as basically as a knight fighting off other knights. Keir Starmer as a crumbling statue because it just is collapsing. I do love this cracked world scenery. I think this is the first time this particular cracked world scenery appeared. I know it appears again in Crybrows when Pippa is running along the collapsing, basically running along this towards Big Ben. One of the scenes. The lyrics are key there. Is that the girl they created and couldn't control. Such an own goal. It really was. This entire... Over the years, there have been many things that have been propaganda, but they've been so good that people just haven't noticed. Just good, fun things to watch or play, or people just live with it. And most people either knew it was propaganda and could ignore it because it was good, or they just didn't realize and it happened the way it was. This was so blatant and so stupidly done. Now, Labour cracking their whips is a double, because Labour has been cracking down on any blowback. It's like the riots, for example, in response to the girls getting killed by, by what was believed to be an immigrant at first, but it turns out to be a child of immigrants instead, because that's a huge difference there. But whips is also a term used in British politics for people who basically organise the party's members, make sure they all follow the same words, the same doctrine. And Labour's been cracking down on their own members. Golden. Right. In the background here, you have Ingsuck, which is a variant on Ing Sok from 1984. Obviously suck for a very good reason. The reference to the Iran photo, the woman lighting her cigarette off of a picture of the Ayatollah, place of Amelia doing it to a picture of Keir Starmer. I do love the change in art styles, emphasise the quality of it.
run from a thunder.
Philip, and here we have Kaya.
British not skittish and done with this crap. Tried to shut it all down, but she ran a full lap. Why fools left in chorus?
Leaflet and her friend, whose name I can never remember. I know she's a Lamia. Sama? Kirsch, Smug, Mizuki, and of course the Streisand effect. The more you try and decry something to hide it, the more attention you bring to it and you inflate what it is. And here we have the shadow banned, being reference to people whose numbers are artificially lowered by it, shadow banning on platforms, also being a band. They're all wearing the mask from V for Vendetta, the Guy Fawkes masks, which kind of mucks with Nux a little bit because of Nux already having a mask. But Nux, Timple, Penguin Zero, and Asmongold. Alright, and here we have Neurosama and Evil and Vedal, who is a British person. So kind of fitting that they put him in there. I do love the pulsing to the beat, because it's not always on every single beat, because this is quite a fast song. If it's on every beat, your eyes would be absolutely blurred out. I'd say it's on every second beat for the most part, with a gap on key moments. Doop, 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 one, doop, doop. Now we have Buddha and I should call him Count Dankula. Everyone knows him as Count Dankula. Mark Meacham, a comedian who, to annoy his girlfriend, recorded a video of his dog saluting in response to key phrases. I won't repeat here because I don't want to get in trouble because I am in the UK. And yeah, it was definitely free speech in the UK. And there we had Skybrow's hugging a body pillow of Amelia. I think this is an example of when Skybrow's kind of realised that he was overloading cameos into his videos a little bit and was going to start cutting down. Because he put everyone into one big scene, and he had done it previously, but you got a Waldo here as well to represent the fact that everyone's just searching for themselves in these videos. Raving Mango, Nihilith, Nux, Leaflet, Ember, Mavluck, Feeble Mind, plus Horse Girl Daughter, Night Owl, very shaded out, that's Gaming Syndicate, Underworld Fox, Trucker Man, Nasky, Mumi, not sure, but Rabbit Girl. I would have said Pippa, but it's not pink enough. Could be any number of cat girls or fox girls. And then we have Zayla Zazazia. Here we have X-Count, Silas, AI Trump. I believe it's meant to be his own character version of what's up with my brain today? Joe Rogan, Joe Rogaine. And then we've got Penguin Zero again. A bunch of the background here, and people think this might be the AI girlfriend on X thing, whatever her name is. I think it's like Anne or Annie. got Tommy Robinson at his Unite the Kingdom rallies. And then you've got the biggest disappointment in British politics in the last 20 years. Well, second biggest, I'd say. I think the one before that would probably be Boris Johnson, who promised to run on the idea of cutting down and possibly even stopping immigration, and instead boosted it. And here you've got someone was for ages running on the idea of all the immigrants' votes being bad, and then as soon as he gets questioned on it about what he's going to do, he just doesn't mention it once he's back into actual politics. Giving her a shot there, but I will point out the bike itself is a British-made bike. It's a Triumph. I mean, that's the key thing there. If you're coming over legitimately, in need, or with a real effort to add to the country, brilliant. If you're just coming here to try and do your own thing and change Britain from being Britain, do not come. Do not come. I do accept submissions, preferably on the Discord. I've got a channel for it. But you got to realise I review the videos more than the music, and I focus more on the AI stuff as well. So if you're not doing that sort of thing, then don't even try. Because somebody tried getting me to react to a music song of theirs a couple of days ago, maybe a week or two ago now. And they had edited the video to a song, but they didn't own the rights to the song, and that could have completely screwed me over. So, I just need to be, if it's not something that's been sent to me by someone I trust, and I know, I need to review it beforehand, which makes the review on stream a little bit less honest. So, when it comes to music, I can say I like that music, I don't like that music. I can say I like the beat, but I can't really put much commentary on it. Me, it's more about editing and messaging in videos. So I tend to try and focus on stuff that's video stuff. I've got a few in here that are just music with very simple videos to them, but they're from people I know, and I want to see what they're doing in terms of their stand-in images. But really, I'm trying to focus on the visual side of what's going on with these videos. Hidden messaging and placing. See, I do like this video, but compared to a lot of his other stuff building up to this, there's not actually a lot that's brand new in terms of the editing and the visuals. The clever part with this one is the song building. It's the lyrics and how it combines in. That's why I haven't got a lot to say on this other than just commenting on who appears and the fact that there's like a nice beat on the music for the video. Which is why I feel bad about reacting this way, because this is probably one of the most important songs he's done in terms of political messaging. As I said, as I'm on the video side of things rather than the lyrical and musical, I don't know what else to really say about it. There's a good clever little thing with expensive petroleum, about prices going up, even though Britain has access to one of the largest gas fields in the world. We just don't touch it because of our regulations. Cuts on the beats, fantastic scenes, reference to the Beatles, and then Doctor Who. We got the Daleks, but they're Daleks, TARDIS, and then we got Monty Python's The Spanish Inquisition, which I think has got more meaning than people just think. People just went, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. And then you got to realise is that Monty Python was a satire in so many ways. It was a satire on British politics, for one thing, at a time when the left wasn't quite as powerful as it is now, and the left was making the common sense attacks on some of the stupidity in politics that was coming from the right. But the Spanish Inquisition, in of itself, is a reference to the purity purges that's been happening for the last decade or so. Especially in the left, where if you don't follow absolutely every single aspect of the left's policies, you're suddenly a right-wing Nazi. I mean, just look at topically, as someone who's come up in the things recently because of a TV series being made from it. Oh god, her name just slipped out of my head as soon as I started thinking about talking about her. Harry Potter, the author, J.K. Rowling. She's very, very left-wing about so many things, but there's only one topic she disagrees with the mainstream left about, and that's transgenderism. But because of that, everyone on the left who's vocal, and that's the key point, it's the vocal minority, just decries her as the worst person who wants genocide. And it's like, thank you for that. Can't see her name. Oh, this is so annoying. I put these things in, and it's supposed to come up with a message here for me, but it didn't do it. Hi, I'm doing quite well. To figure it out. But yeah, so you got the internal purges done by the Inquisition on the left, going after the smallest break from dogma. Right, and those last three art styles are all references to British pop art styles. I mean, there was a very famous art style poster going for it, like all sort of heavy brush oil painting style. It just goes through various historical things, fighting the Germans, World War II, the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, which is what led to the breaking up of the British Empire. Oh, that was the BNA, cool. So I kind of cheated there. As I was saying earlier, I'm okay with reviewing videos, but I actually review the video side of things rather than the music side of things, and how it matches up with the song or the theme of the lyrics. This is very much a video used to match the theme of the lyrics, but it's also cut in a way that works quite well with the beats. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you asking, though. Someone came in earlier and just posted a link going shouting, "React to me." I much prefer it if you kind of like ask me. It's a nice way of doing it. If you do ever get video, I do have a Discord where I have a channel specifically for reactions. Unfortunately, if I don't know who you are, I need to kind of give it a brief skim over first to make sure I'm not getting hit by somebody who's just throwing up a copyrighted song, because there are some trolls out there who try and get you to react to songs that will get you absolutely taken off the air, even when you're as small as me. But yeah, you got the 1833 Abolition Act. This act was very, very important. It kind of ended slavery for the world. There are many other places in the world that would never have gotten rid of slavery wasn't for this. Now, I say ended slavery. There's obviously still slavery going on. It's re-emerged in places, and that's because we don't have the power to enforce it the way we did during this time. Now, the Magna Carta is very important, but that's not the important part that should have been referenced there. It should have been the Doomsday Book at this point. It's more like historical correction. Magna Carta is very good about like the rule of the people, as per. Magna Carta basically set up the rights of the lords to challenge the king without having to go to war with the king. But the Doomsday Book, which was set into motion by William the Conqueror, catalogued the entire country's wealth. It recorded every person, every slave, every piece of property. And then about 2 years later, once it was finished being catalogued, William the Conqueror realised that if he put a tax on the sale of every slave in the country that went straight to him, he could recoup a lot of his losses that he had in monetary losses during the conquering war to take over the country. Within a generation, slavery no longer existed in the UK, in what was the British Empire of the time, the UK, northern France, a few other little bits that were part of the UK at the time. It wasn't technically illegal to have slaves. It was just you paid a fine if you traded in slaves inside British borders. You move that forward to the 1833 period of time, and it seemed to be that if you are a slave and you set foot on English soil, you become free. Even during the height of the slave trade, there were no slaves in England. There are a few cases of people turning up with slaves. Oh, yeah. I believe the ratio of the value would be like, if you were to buy a 15 grand car, you'd be paying 10 grand extra in taxes to the government. Was basically the ratio of what the tax was. In terms of value. Yeah. Basically, he wanted more free men. And if he couldn't get the 3 men, he would get money to pay for his armies. Because if you have 3 men who aren't being paid to, who aren't being given their living expenses, well, they need jobs. What's the easiest job anyone can do? Well, they can join the army. I mean, it wasn't from humanitarian ideals that he did it. It was for his own purpose. But by the time he got to the 1833 period, you had the case of, I think it was William Strong, who was a slave who was brought over from the US and escaped into the UK. And when he was captured to be taken back onto ship, the citizens funded a legal defense for him, and he got put in front of the judge, and the judge basically turned around and said, according to the laws of England, the air is too pure to breathe for any slave, and therefore any slave that can breathe here is not a slave. He's here, he's breathing, he's not a slave. He's a free man. And that's kind of where the UK went when moved on to the abolition of the slave trade as a whole. That led on to that. Isaac Newton, I always forget his name. It's the AI guy, computers. Turing test. Yeah, Alan Turing. Shakespeare is the DJ. All right, now here, this is a reference to what's known as Gammonzilla. Gammon is a term used by the political upper class to refer to the common man who has no understanding of politics, the general proletariat, you might say. He's seen as the northern lad who has the what they call a wife beater, the vest, drinks a lot of beer, usually clean-shaven, and is overly patriotic. Gammonzilla represents the mass, sheer weight of numbers the Gammons have. And this is representing like the fact that the Gammons are waking up, and they're seeing that the party that was traditionally their ally, which would be the Labour Party, because it's meant to represent, the people who performed the Labour, really aren't in favour of the people anymore. But at the same time, the Conservatives aren't either. So that's where we're stuck in the UK. Beautiful fight scenes, very clean. This is Vidu doing this. And of course, we've got the expensive Ram with Tony, Science Guy, and Fat JD Vance meme. Now, I will say in that last fight scene, while it's pretty, he stops trying to match it to the beat. He just threw in the fight scene there as a nice, pretty visual. Yeah, it's not on the beat at all. It's just them swinging away. Nice, fun visual. It's only that last beat that you get the changeover to this image with the little jokey references. Hey, Keyvox. Yeah, I know. I mean, as I said, it's an issue with AI. It likes throwing in things that you don't ask for. It tries making things more dramatic, and it doesn't need to. Yeah. So I'm sure all of you have already seen this, but it's a great song. I'm going to send a link out to everyone. Give the original its views and loves. It's well on its way to 2 million Amelias now. 1.4 million views. So a second. I don't just need to clear my nose. Okay, I've unmuted myself. All right. That's a long overdue review that I put off for far too long. And it's refreshing again.